I smell copyright infringement.
A long time ago in a galaxy not that far away, before Disney had a monopoly on the franchise and before the sequel trilogy somehow made the prequels look Oscar-worthy in comparison, Star Wars quietly gave us one of its greatest stories ever told. Back in 2003, Genndy Tartakovsky created something that didn't just feel like Star Wars. It felt like the legend that Star Wars was always supposed to be. And somehow it got left behind. But today, we're fixing that because this series didn't just understand Star Wars, it perfected it. And along the way, it gave us one of the greatest scenes in the franchise involving a certain Jedi hunter that we will definitely be covering in a little bit. Now here's something that modern Star Wars just seems to keep forgetting, and that is you don't need a massive, overcomplicated epic for Star Wars to work. And this series proved that immediately. These were short, episodic stories that had no heavy backstory, no required homework to learn what was going on. They aired as quick bursts that were just long enough to hook you, but not so long that they kind of dragged on. You could jump in with zero knowledge and still get it. Another thing this series does better than almost anything that came after it is that it trusts you, it trusts the audience. There are entire whole sequences with absolutely no dialogue, no exposition, no characters explaining what you're already seeing, just movement, lighting, and emotion. And in a series where the episodes are like 12 to 15 minutes long, this is a humongous gamble, but my god did it pay off. And one of the best examples of this has to be when Anakin is fighting Asajj Ventress. I mean, if you've seen the scene, you know what I'm talking about. It is a masterpiece. When we get to the climax of the battle and Anakin takes up that Sith lightsaber and starts attacking, you get flashes of all the people in his life. Different colors for different emotions, all colliding in this chaotic visual storm that is just a masterpiece to look at. It is an absolute masterclass in trusting the comprehension skills of the audience. And speaking of the visuals, we gotta talk about the style of it because it's just, I think it's perfect. This doesn't look like your typical Star Wars, it looks like a myth being told. And if you're a fan of literally anything that Tartakovsky's done, you know what to expect. His style is always minimalistic, bold, hyper-intentional, but that simplicity allows him to do something truly incredible. He's always able to build tension and emotion without saying a single word. There are scenes in this show that feel just as intense as anything in any of the movies, and they do it with far, far less, which in my opinion makes it hit a lot harder, especially when that silence is eventually broken by something hunting in the dark.
That's called foreshadowing.
And even though this show pulled all of this off in spite of not having a huge blockbuster budget, it feels like it did. And the choreography, oh my dear god, better than most live-action Star Wars, and it's not even close. The Jedi don't just feel like generals giving commands, they feel like legendary figures in the battlefield. I mean, Mace Windu, oh my dear god. He alone gets some of the best action sequences in the entire franchise, including one where he just destroys an entire army with no lightsaber. And that mythological tone sets the stage perfectly for the moment when the show flips from epic to straight up horror, because y'all know what I'm about to talk about. No! General Grievous, this right here, this is the version that people should remember.
Not this. This! Not this. Winner, loser.
I know that he's not as meme-worthy as the version in the prequels, but this version of him is just, oh my god, he's perfect. Before you even see him, you hear about him, you see the aftermath, you feel the fear. And when he finally shows up, he doesn't just enter the scene. Oh no, he goes on the hunt. He's silent, calculated, relentless, pretty much unstoppable. He's a terrifying villain. And when you compare this version to his Revenge of the Sith counterpart, oh god, it's one of the biggest downgrades in cinematic history. It is not even close which one's better. This version feels like he's death incarnate, whereas this version feels like he's about to die. But it's not just the villains that the show cares about, no, because like I mentioned earlier, the way they portray Anakin's fall is just, it's so good, y'all. Look, I love the prequels, not as much as the originals because they're not as good, but the prequels did a pretty good job. But when it comes to Anakin's turn, I think we can all agree that yeah, they kinda rushed it.
I think Chancellor Palpatine is a Sith Lord.
Later that same evening.
Now I'm sure some of y'all might be getting ready to ask, well, if the show was so good, then why'd everybody forget about it? And the answer to that is pretty simple. It got overshadowed by shows that had longer stories and bigger budgets, Disney's resetting of the canon, and then of course the CGI Clone Wars series. And yes, the CGI Clone Wars deserves its praise, it's fantastic, but let's all be honest here, it got the recognition for what this series already mastered. Now, to be fair and objective, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the show has no faults whatsoever. I mean, even the best shows and movies have some kind of issues with them. I mean, Andy, how did you get the poster to stick to the wall when you left, man? And the same can be said for this show, because Season 3, it's definitely not perfect. You could feel it shift. It was less focused, more traditional, less unique. I mean, it was still good, but it was nowhere near as good as the first 2 seasons. Looking back on this series 2 decades later, my God, I'm getting old. What set it apart is that it made Star Wars truly feel like a legend. Because this wasn't just another series, it felt like Star Wars in its purest form. It didn't need hours of exposition, and it didn't need to explain every detail. It showed you a galaxy of legends, and it trusted you to believe in them. That's why I say, if you want to know what Star Wars is supposed to feel like, don't start with what's new. Start with what we forgot. Okay, I've rambled on for long enough, y'all. If you made it this far in the video, a like and a comment definitely wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but even if you don't, that's cool too. I just want to thank you for watching. I'm gonna get back to work on the next video, so until then, I hope all of y'all have a great rest of your weekend, okay? See ya!